Have you ever wondered what happens when a mountain, a titan of stone and fire, decides to consume itself? In the heart of the Pacific Northwest, specifically in the state of Oregon, lies a secret written in the deepest shades of blue you will ever witness. It is a hole in the world, a caldera nearly 2,000 feet deep, born from a catastrophe that reshaped the very soul of the continent. Established in 1902, this is Crater Lake National Park, the fifth oldest national park in the United States and a testament to the power of destruction. Why does this place command such a haunting presence in our collective memory, and what does it say about our own resilience in the face of collapse? We are about to dive into the abyss, exploring the geography, the violent history, and the haunting beauty of a lake born from fire. Before we descend into the shadows of Mount Mazama, make sure to subscribe and join our journey into the most mysterious corners of our planet. Your presence here is the first step in understanding the true scale of nature's most dramatic masterpieces. Most people see a lake and think of life, of rivers flowing and cycles of renewal. But Crater Lake is an anomaly, a geographic paradox that defies the standard rules of hydrology. There are no rivers flowing into this basin and no outlets leading the water back to the sea. It is a closed system, a liquid sapphire held in a volcanic cup, sustained entirely by the tears of the sky. Every drop of water you see fell as snow or rain, trapped by the high walls of the caldera with nowhere to go. This isolation creates a purity that is almost impossible to find anywhere else on Earth. Because no sediment-heavy rivers enter the lake, the water remains remarkably clear, allowing light to penetrate to staggering depths. This clarity is what creates that famous, intense blue, a color so deep it feels like looking into the eye of the universe. The sheer scale of this place is difficult for the human mind to process. At its lowest point, the water reaches a depth of 1,949 feet. This makes it the deepest lake in the United States and one of the deepest on the entire planet. If you were to submerge the tallest skyscrapers of New York into these waters, they would disappear beneath the surface without a trace. It is a vertical world, where the distance from the rim to the floor is a journey through time and pressure. What does it feel like to stand on the edge of such a massive void? You are looking at a space that was once occupied by 12,000 feet of solid rock. Now, there is only water, wind, and an echoing silence that reminds us how fragile the Earth really is. The mission of this park goes far beyond providing a pretty view for tourists. It was created to protect a landscape forged in the most violent conditions imaginable. The park guards not just the lake, but the entire volcanic ecosystem, from the pumice deserts to the ancient forests. It is a sanctuary for geological features that exist nowhere else, a laboratory for scientists, and a temple for those seeking inspiration. We preserve these places because they tell the story of who we are and where we came from. They remind us that the ground beneath our feet is not permanent, but a shifting, breathing entity. Can we truly appreciate the peace of the present without acknowledging the violence of the past? To understand Crater Lake, we must go back 7,700 years. At that time, Mount Mazama was a massive peak in the Cascade Range, standing over 12,000 feet tall. It was a giant, a landmark that dominated the horizon for hundreds of miles. But beneath the surface, a pressure was building, a molten fury that could no longer be contained. When the mountain finally erupted, it was not a simple explosion, but a total collapse of the Earth's crust. The eruption was 42 times more powerful than the blast of Mount St. Helens in 1980. The mountain literally turned inside out, spewing ash across several states and into Canada. As the magma chamber emptied, the summit of the mountain lost its support and fell into itself. In the place of a towering peak, there was now a massive, steaming hole in the ground known as a caldera. This was not a slow process, but a sudden, terrifying transformation that changed the climate of the region. Imagine the sheer terror of witnessing a mountain vanish from the sky in a matter of days. The landscape was buried in hundreds of feet of pumice and ash, turning a lush forest into a gray, lifeless desert. For centuries, this caldera remained a hollow scar, waiting for the sky to begin the long process of healing. Rain and snow began to fall into the basin, year after year, century after century. Because the rock at the bottom was sealed by volcanic heat, the water did not drain away immediately. It gathered, slowly filling the void, rising until it reached the level we see today. This process took nearly 725 years to reach a point of equilibrium. The lake is now a delicate balance of precipitation and evaporation, a constant struggle to maintain its level. It is a living reminder that even the deepest wounds can be filled with something beautiful if given enough time. Does this not mirror the human experience, where our greatest tragedies often become the vessels for our deepest growth? The climate of Crater Lake National Park is a study in extremes and endurance. Though it is located in the Pacific Northwest, it functions under a subarctic regime for most of the year. The winters are legendary, with snowfall often exceeding 44 feet in a single season. This is not just a light dusting, but a heavy, oppressive blanket that buries entire buildings and shuts down most of the park. For 8 months of the year, the landscape is locked in a white embrace, inaccessible to all but the most prepared. Yet, the lake itself almost never freezes, despite the sub-zero temperatures. Its immense volume of water retains the heat of the earth, acting as a massive thermal battery. When summer finally arrives, it is brief, intense, and fleeting. The snow melts rapidly, revealing a rugged terrain of volcanic rock and alpine meadows. This short window of accessibility is the only time most humans get to witness the lake in person. It creates a sense of urgency, a feeling that you must see it now before the clouds return and the world turns white again. The park is a place where you are constantly aware of the clock, of the changing seasons, and the power of the weather. How often do we ignore the cycles of nature in our daily lives, forgetting that we too are subject to the seasons of change? In this harsh environment, life has found a way to not only survive, but to thrive. The park is home to black bears, elk, and the elusive lynx, animals that have adapted to the deep snow and volcanic soil. Above the caldera, bald eagles and peregrine falcons hunt, their shadows dancing across the deep blue water. The forests are thick with hemlock and fir, trees that have stood for centuries against the howling mountain winds. It is a resilient ecosystem, one that rose from the ash of a dead volcano. Every living thing here is a survivor, a descendant of the organisms that reclaimed the land after the Great Collapse. The water of the lake was originally devoid of any fish, as the high walls of the caldera prevented any natural migration. However, between 1888 and 1941, humans introduced several species to the lake. Today, rainbow trout and kokanee salmon swim in the crystal-clear depths, having carved out a niche in this isolated world. This human intervention has created a unique ecological experiment, a blend of natural isolation and artificial introduction. Is it our duty to leave nature untouched, or is our desire to enhance it simply part of our own evolutionary drive? The fish in Crater Lake serve as a living question mark, swimming in the shadows of a mountain that once belonged only to the fire. Beyond the water itself, the park is filled with dramatic formations that look like scenes from another planet. The Pumice Desert is a vast, barren expanse where nothing grows, even thousands of years after the eruption. The soil is so porous and nutrient-poor that the forest simply cannot take hold, leaving a haunting, empty landscape. Then there are the Pinnacles, towering spires of rock formed by volcanic gas vents that hardened over time. As the softer ash eroded away, these fossil fumaroles were left standing like the chimneys of a ghost city. They are reminders of the subterranean heat that once boiled beneath the surface, a silent testament to the invisible forces of the earth. In the middle of the lake sits Wizard Island, a cinder cone that rose from the water long after the main caldera was formed. It looks like a miniature volcano within a volcano, a perfect dark cone that adds a sense of mystery to the landscape. To the north, the phantom ship appears to float on the water, a jagged rock formation that resembles an ancient sailing vessel. These features are the remnants of smaller eruptions, the final gasps of a dying volcano. They give the lake a sense of scale and texture, breaking up the endless blue with the harsh reality of stone. Which of these silent sentinels would you choose to explore first if you had the chance? The human history of this region is as deep and complex as the lake itself. Long before the first European explorers arrived, the Klamath people lived in the shadow of Mount Mazama. Their oral traditions contain vivid accounts of the mountain's collapse, described as a battle between the gods of the sky and the underworld. Lau, the god of the below, and Skel, the god of the above, fought a war that ended in the destruction of the mountain. It is incredible to think that a story could survive for over 7,000 years, passed down through generations. These legends are not just myths, but historical records of a catastrophic event witnessed by human eyes. In 1853, 3 gold prospectors became the first Americans of European descent to see the lake. They were stunned by its color, naming it Deep Blue Lake, a title that was as simple as it was accurate. However, the lake remained a secret to much of the world until a man named William Gladstone Steele fell in love with it. He first read about the lake in a newspaper as a boy, and he spent the rest of his life fighting for its protection. Steele spent his own fortune and decades of his time lobbying the government to make it a national park. His obsession is the reason we can still visit this place today. The park finally received its official designation from President Theodore Roosevelt in 1902. Since then, it has become a bucket list destination for millions of people from around the world. But this popularity brings its own set of challenges, as the park must balance tourism with conservation. The economy of the surrounding region is heavily dependent on the visitors who come to see the blue water. Hotels, guides, and local businesses thrive during the short summer months, creating a seasonal heartbeat for the local community. It is a reminder that natural beauty is not just a spiritual resource, but an economic one as well. Visiting Crater Lake is an exercise in humility and awe. The Rim Drive offers 33 miles of spectacular views, circling the entire caldera and providing a different perspective at every turn. You can see the water from above, but to truly feel its power, you must hike the Cleetwood Cove Trail. This is the only path that leads down to the water's edge, a steep and punishing descent that reminds you of the caldera's scale. At the bottom, The water is even bluer than it appears from the rim, and the silence is even more profound. Have you ever stood at the edge of something so vast that your own problems suddenly felt like grains of sand? For those seeking a higher perspective, the hike to the summit of Mount Scott is essential. At 8,929 feet, it is the highest point in the park, offering a panoramic view of the entire Cascade Range. From here, you can see the curve of the Earth and the scars of ancient lava flows that stretch for miles. It is a place where you can feel the wind of the high desert and the chill of the mountain air simultaneously. The contrast between the jagged peaks and the smooth, calm surface of the lake is a visual representation of the Earth's duality. It is both a creator and a destroyer, a source of life and a bringer of death. As we look at the visitor experience today, we must also acknowledge the fragility of this landscape. The heavy snowfall that defines the park also limits its accessibility, making every visit a precious opportunity. The Park Service works tirelessly to clear the roads, but nature often has the final say. There are years when the snow does not melt until July, and the first storms of autumn arrive in September. This limited window creates a sense of exclusivity, a feeling that you are a guest in a world that does not belong to you. Are we prepared to respect the boundaries that nature sets for us, or do we always demand total access? The story of Crater Lake is ultimately a story of transformation. It began with a mountain that reached for the stars, only to be brought low by its own internal pressure. It endured a period of fire and ash that seemed like the end of the world. And yet, out of that darkness, something more beautiful and more profound emerged. The lake is a lesson in patience, a reminder that the most significant things take time to grow and fill the voids in our lives. It teaches us that beauty can be found in the aftermath of disaster, provided we are willing to wait for the rain to fall. When you look at Crater Lake, you are looking at the resilience of the planet. It does not hide its scars, it fills them with water and turns them into a masterpiece. This is a philosophy we can apply to our own lives. We all face moments of collapse, times when the things we have built seem to fall apart. But what if those collapses are simply creating the space for something deeper and more beautiful to take hold? Could it be that our greatest failures are actually the foundations of our most significant achievements? Crater Lake National Park is more than a destination. It is a living record of Earth's volcanic power and resilience. It is a place that demands our respect and earns our wonder. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the depths of Oregon's crown jewel. If this story of fire and water resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever felt the weight of history while standing in a natural landscape? Let us know, and together, we will continue to explore the most breathtaking stories our world has to tell. Your support helps us bring these stories to life, and we are honored to have you as part of our community. Until next time, keep looking toward the horizon and searching for the beauty in the deep.